Welcome, everyone. This is Pilot Needles, and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at latest news in LOTRO and here at LOTRO Players. And this week, I'm joined with Krister
Hello.
and Cinders.
Hello.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our final episode of the year of 2023.
I can't believe it.
Yep. And of course, that means that there is very, very little news from the dev team this week. But of course, we do have the finale to our 12 days of LOTRO presentation. And Cinders, are you ready?
I am. On the first day of LOTRO, my hobbit gave to me a drink at the Prancing Pony. On the second day of LOTRO, my hobbit gave to me 2 elvish twins and a drink at the Prancing Pony. On the third day of LOTRO, my hobbit gave to me 3 sidekicks, 2 elvish twins, and a drink at the Prancing Pony. On the fourth day of LOTRO, my hobbit gave to me 4 ghostly tests, 3 sidekicks, 2 elvish twins, and a drink at the Prancing Pony. On the fifth day of LOTRO, my hobbit gave to me 5 eyes and bits, 4 ghostly tests, 3 sidekicks, 2 elvish twins, and a drink at the Prancing Pony. On the sixth day of LOTRO, my hobbit gave to me 6 elves a-judging, 5 eyes and bits, 4 ghostly tests, 3 sidekicks, 2 elvish twins, and a drink at the Prancing Pony. On the seventh day of LOTRO, my hobbit gave to me 7 dwarven fathers, 6 elves a-judging, 5 eyes and bits, 4 ghostly tests, 3 sidekicks, 2 elvish twins, and a drink at the Prancing Pony. On the 8th day of LOTRO, my hobbit gave to me 8 brood of boffins, 7 dwarven fathers, 6 elves a-judging, 5 eyes and bits, 4 ghostly tests, 3 sidekicks, 2 elvish twins, and a drink at the Prancing Pony. On the 9th day of LOTRO, my hobbit gave to me 9 wraiths a-riding, 8 brood of boffins, 7 dwarven fathers, 6 elves a-judging, 5 eyes and bits, 4 ghostly tests, 3 sidekicks, 2 elvish twins, and a drink at the Prancing Pony. On the 10th day of LOTRO, my hobbit gave to me 10 rangers skulking, 9 wraiths a-riding, 8 brood of boffins, 7 dwarven fathers, 6 elves a-judging, 5 eyes and bits, 4 ghostly tests, 3 sidekicks, 2 elvish twins, and a drink at the Prancing Pony. On the 11th day of LOTRO, my hobbit gave to me 11 beers delivering, 10 rangers skulking, 9 wraiths a-riding, 8 brood of boffins, 7 dwarven fathers, 6 elves a-judging, 5 eyes and bits, 4 ghostly tests, 3 sidekicks, 2 elvish twins, and a drink at the Prancing Pony. On the 12th day of LOTRO, my hobbit gave to me 12 pies exchanging, 11 beers delivering, 10 rangers skulking, 9 wraiths a-riding, 8 brood of boffins, 7 dwarven fathers, 6 elves a-judging, 5 eyes and bits, 4 ghostly tests, 3 sidekicks, 2 elvish twins, and a drink at the Prancing Pony. Thank you.
Hooray!
Oh, I was not expecting you to go through the entire Oh boy.
It was my last chance, man.
Your last chance. Okay.
Have to wait another year for me to sing again.
That was awesome, though.
Just kidding.
Or at least before you sing that again, because I'm sure you'll have
Yes.
plenty of singing in the year to come.
Oh yes. More than I like to think about some days.
All right, that is the 12 Days of LOTRO, presented here by Cinders. Whew. And since her voice is most likely exhausted, Krister, could you do us a favor and tell us what the store sales are this week?
I can. Just hold on just 1 millisecond. Sorry.
He just has to have
All
a
right.
few backslashes in there.
Yes.
I know. That's, yeah. So that's if you haven't figured out my push to talk key. All right, the store sales. Yule sales on expansions in the LOTRO market, 80% off Minas Morgul and Mordor, 60% off War of the Three Peaks, 25% off Fate of Gundabad, and that's through the 2nd of January. Returning for a limited time, the Rakish and Homestead and Harvest patron coffers. You can learn more about the patron. The Rakish are we posting that in our notes?
Yes.
Okay, so you can learn more about those the coffers with links that we're posting, and that's going to be available through January 2nd as well. And of course, double bonus points is back. My favorite time of the year. Get twice the bonus points in the LOTRO store through January 2nd. And this is your final week for Yuletide savings. So through the 4th of January, you're going to get 35% off before the Shadow. And we have 4 points there. Can you elaborate on that, Pine?
Yeah, that means if you're buying it for LOTRO points instead of buying it at the LOTRO market.
Thank you. 50% off Hurry Traveler, Returning Traveler, and Milestone Skills. 75% off Stat Tome bundles and stat packages. And then you can start a new journey, get 30% off character slots, select vet status, XP boosts, and that's through January 4th as well. And then the weekly coupon is a free 10% run speed boost times 5. So that's 6 hours apiece, right? 30 hours of runtime.
Right.
That is run speed, all one word, and that is through January 4th as well.
I need to get that on my lore master, I think.
Fine. You really need that on a few characters.
Now, would that stack with your Warden's run buff?
I don't believe so, but it will allow Pineleaf's characters to keep up with my Warden. She's a high elf, so she has the run speed boost
Those
that
long,
they get
dangly
automatically.
legs.
Yes, so they get the boost automatically, so Pineleaf's characters have to add a run speed boost to keep up.
Right.
So Pineleaf's characters are more sprinters.
Yes.
Well, I don't think I want to go into a sprinting competition against a Warden. It just doesn't end well.
No, it wouldn't.
At least to win it for a lore master, I guess a Guardian has, or Champion, one of those has a nice sprint skill,
I think they both actually do. So the Guardian has a charge, and I think the Champion does as well.
All right.
It might not be called the same thing, but I do think they have a skill that lets you get ahead of your companions.
Well, the idea there is to get in front so you can be the first to bash the monsters.
Same thing with the Guardian.
Yes. And, well, with the Guardians, that's a very, very important thing to do because you don't want people stealing aggro from you, which is, unfortunately, you have these ranged characters that sometimes shoot ahead of the
Yes, they can
guard.
shoot faster than my character can run sometimes.
Yeah. But anyway, thank you. That's quite a bit for the sales. Of course, we'll be going back to normal on our sales next week. So no more of these all ultra December specials that we've been having in the last few weeks in there. And I did find the Hurried Traveler and Returning Traveler discount to be nice because I had a character that was, let's just say, really in need of some faster cooldowns.
Yes, and he's rubbed it in a few times too.
About how fast he is now?
No. I'll just use my return to skill. Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
This is coming to someone who has. This is coming from someone who has mustards, right?
Yes, but I can't get there to get the musters yet.
Well,
So every time so what are you telling me is every time she uses the mustard, you have to catch it?
Yes.
Was that too subtle? Was that too...
as subtle as a brick. As this is our last show of the year, we are going to have a review of 2023 in LOTRO and see how we did this year, or I should say how Standing Stone Games did this year in providing what they had planned, because they put out a plan at the very, very beginning of the year on January 18th, going through each of the quarters, what they were planning on then, and pretty much telling us what they were thinking of doing for each of them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through each of the quarters, and then I'm going to, on what they planned, and then we'll have a look at what they actually had in the update from that quarter and see how closely they aligned. All right, so we'll begin with the winter first quarter, where they plan to have new instances, a new instance cluster, 2 3-player instances, 1 6-player instance, and a raid. Which, if I remember correctly, that was the Karn Doom instance set, Return to Karn Doom. Which, if I remember correctly, Krister, you spent a lot of time going after a certain rat in that set.
Yes. I don't really want to talk about it anymore.
Oh yeah. You don't want to talk about rats anymore. Oh yeah, that rat has been the death of many people. Actually, so
that rat has sailed.
yes, and that was Return to Karn Doom, and there were 2 3-player instances in there. Actually, rather tough ones in there because they had the Vile Apothecary and the Poisoned Gardens. The 6-player one was the one with featuring the big nasty rat at the end. And then and they also had a raid. Has your group ever finished the raid?
No, we never did. No, we got stuck. We basically could do boss 1 kind of okay, and then we never got past boss 2. So.
Yeah, I know I was in a group that managed to get through boss 2, and someone said, "Oh, let's take a peek at what's next," and we wound up in the fight for boss 3, which I can't remember how we did against boss 3, but because you segue directly from boss 3 to boss 4, it was, let's just say boss 4. Boss 4 very definitely turned us into paste if we got past boss 3. So yes, there was a new instance cluster, and it was quite a challenging one. What do you expect if you go to Karn Doom, right?
I expect like the tourist experience now.
The tourist experience now.
Cotton candy.
Well, I suppose if you want the tourist experience, you could set it to 140 and go in with your 150 characters, right?
That's true. That'd be like the movies almost,
Yeah. And the second thing they had in there was Delvings Expanded, meaning that they were starting on their effort to add more Delvings in there. So in this case, for Delvings Expanded, the update that we had there is they added them to 2 new instances. Actually, the school and the library got Delvings for that. So those were the first 3-player instances to get Delvings. So that was the first non-missions to get them. Then they had targeted class updates, and if I remember correctly, one was the ward. That was the captain update also, right?
I don't. I'm not sure.
Okay. Okay. I do remember the warden being updated in that one, and they had at least one other class updated at the time. I think it was the captain. But anyways, I'm sure someone will post and tell us what it really was if it wasn't the captain. But the warden was very definitely the target, one of the targeted classes that we had in there. So of course I spent the later part of the first quarter trying to say, now how do I play this class now? Then we had the power revamp. And that's
I like how you call it a revamp. I call it power loss.
power loss. Well,
In that we started to lose power, you know. That,
yeah. I mean, yeah,
that
that's
blue bar was
because
just solid all the time. You never had to worry about it. And now you're like
Wait.
going, why aren't my skills working? Why aren't it? Oh, wait. Oh, where's that blue stuff? That blue stuff that was always there. Where is it?
where's that blue stuff that was always there? Well, in the old system, you either had full power or you had no power. It was like there was rarely anything in between.
Oh, come on. We know the people that have no power are Bjornians, okay?
No, I meant because if you got hit with a disease, that the disease is back in the.
That's what was so brutal about him, too. You're absolutely right. Is that if the worst thing that you could possibly do to a captain is strip them of their power. That's
Right. But anyway, so they did a revamp of the power system, and one of the things is that usually the lower end skills were, some of them very often had no power consumed on them, so that even if you were stripped of all your powers, you could still do your lowest, least effective skills in there, so you could at least do something and weren't completely left out in the dark.
Oh, no, it's all or nothing. It's all or nothing.
What do you
I'm not a little
you
Kia.
don't believe in using your...
I'm not a Kia just trying to do 35 while I'm getting on the freeway. I'm a drag racer. You don't hit the gas here because I'm going to go 25 miles an hour. I hit the gas. The gas is on. That's why everybody, the lore masters that we work with now are like, can you supply power? Because I'm going to need it. But I am a drag racer too, so as long as I've got that power,
Okay.
I'm going to be producing some pretty awesome stuff.
Okay, so you're a drag racer. You don't go into anything subtle like Formula One or anything like that. No. That's
Have you seen Krister's War Steeds? Yeah, he's not subtle.
Subtlety is not Krister's strength.
All right. Then we had the crafting revisions begins, and did they actually get to anything in the first quarter with crafting, or if it was just a trivial little thing, if I remember correctly?
Yeah, because I want to say it was later on that it was more.
Yeah, well, yeah, if they did anything with crafting revisions in the first quarter, it was absolutely tiny amount that was done then. I think they might have had one or two minor changes there, but they didn't have any big changes to power at the time. And then the return of Ill Omens, because it was skipped in 2022, so we did have the return of the Ill Omens event, which I have no idea what they changed between them, because it didn't look like there was anything really changed. And then the Monster Play events.
It sounds like Halloween right there.
Yeah, I can't remember that. I completely can't remember. Of course, every single one of these talk about the LI reward track thing. Of course, yeah, that was on schedule. I guess they want to have at least one thing that was on schedule in there. And then the Spring Festival. So that was what they had for the first quarter in there. And I would say that they did good on delivering the instances. All right, they gave us a new set of things that had delvings in them. They had a couple of class updates in there. They did do the power revamp. I'd say they were at least, if they had anything in crafting revisions, they were minor in what was in there. I think they did say begin, so we're wondering, what's really in store for later on in the year. Not much, we'll get to that later. The return of Ill Omens, yes, we had that monster play events. I just can't remember what the monster play events were, or if that's something that managed to get lost in the shuffle. So I'd say fairly good on the quarter one. Anybody else have any comments on quarter one?
I feel your summary was a good interpretation of it, how I felt.
Yeah, right. All right, so that was the first quarter. Now the second quarter. Oh, what about you, Cinders?
I was on vacation during the first quarter. I don't know. I honestly, I don't really know what happened until the fourth quarter when I picked up playing again. And the only reason I have comments on, update 36 and 37 is because I can actually, be like, yeah, I went back and did those in the fourth quarter, and they're, so. I don't know much about it.
So you don't know much about the first quarter, though. Okay.
No, the stuff in Carndoom, not anything about the raids, the fellowship, full fellowship, small fellowship. I don't know. Not ever seen them.
Not ever seen them. All right, then let's then head out into the second quarter. Second quarter, we had the 10th anniversary. 16th anniversary.
Whoa.
Okay, yes, you're right. 16th anniversary. Oh boy, there. Maybe I need a larger font on my screen. Yes, there. Okay, 16th.
Maybe you were calculated it in Nt years.
Nt years. Oh no, I was using U.S. years, and they're using metric years.
Metric years.
All right. Then we have the landscape updates. This is where they added the landscape difficulty into the main game, because prior to that, you could only do it on Treebeard, which is a very, very slow going one, which is, of course, slowly progressing through the content in there. And it was also on Shadowfax, but Shadowfax is now closed. So now we have landscape difficulty on the main servers. And of course, I looked at that, checked it out. Yep, ISRon is as annoying as I thought it was back on Treebeard, which is why I never played on Treebeard, was because I hated the ISRon on there. So yes, I do not play with the landscape difficulty system. Actually, I do have it on tier 2 with the group that I am doing with Mythgard, but since tier 2 is the highest tier, that doesn't have the ISR on, so that's the reason why I chose tier 2 in there.
Good thinking.
Yeah, well, the disadvantage of that is you don't get any of the titles that come with doing landscape difficulty. But when you're in a group of 12 people going through all together doing landscape quests, you can just imagine that, yeah, maybe you want to dial it up slightly.
Fair, but do you really want those titles?
No, I'm not going to get the titles because you can only get the titles by doing it. Yeah.
If you don't really want the titles,
Okay. Then also they said continued class updates. Now this is where I'm trying to remember what class updates were there done in second quarter. Yeah.
Probably all the classes they didn't do in the first quarter.
I don't think there were major. I don't think there's major anything.
Yeah, I don't think there were any major. They might have had minor tweaks here and there. Probably is all that they had. Wait, when was the Lore Master up? Was it actually that might have been the Lore Master update? Oh, actually, here we go. That was 30. Let's see. Let's look at the release notes and see what it says.
Ooh.
All right, I find. Okay, yes, that was. Let's see. Yeah, that's when they added the landscape difficulty and classes. They had various tweaks. Yeah, these were minor tweaks to several classes, but no class that was getting a huge amount of updates. All right. And it looks like there were quite a number of things done in PvP. I guess I forgot about all of that stuff, but that there was a significant amount of PvP work done during the second quarter also. So that might be the monster play stuff that they were planning on the first quarter or something like this. Continued class updates. Continued craft updates. If I remember correctly, continued craft updates. If I remember correctly, there were no updates to crafting in the second quarter. Or if they were so minor that they don't impinge upon my memory or anything like that. Then the next item they had in here were ongoing monster play. Okay, that's what all the stuff that were in the Update 36 release notes concerning PvP is the ongoing monster play updates, and there were several of them. Now, they wanted to add, which might be the event they were talking about the first quarter, that they wanted to add some sort of siege event or something like that. That's the thing that they wanted, I think, in the first quarter, and something went wrong with it, and it never happened. That pretty much summarizes what happened there. And, of course, the Midsummer Festival in there. So spring was relatively light, I guess. Except for the fact that what they don't mention in here for the second quarter was probably the most important thing of all. And that was the start of the Song of Waves and Wind. Because that began an entire new storyline, opening up the first half of King's Gondor. And I know that Cinders has done some of that, right?
Yes. I have.
Ooh. Yeah, so that means we finally were able to get the first hints of, yes, there's this thing called the Song of Waves and Wind.
Yeah, and say I am a fan of the storylines in King's Gondor. I didn't get to see them right when they released, but
right.
I really liked how they've developed the characters. It was very true to what I feel I've seen in real life. And so I think that they did a really good job kind of giving them those realistic qualities to make you be like, oh yeah, I recognize that, or oh yeah, okay, I know how this should play out, and then waiting to see if it really does.
Yeah. All right. Any comments on that, Krister?
No, I think you kind of summed it up. I felt it was one of the more quieter quarters, so I ran around. I wasn't trampling at that point in the year, though. I think that's important to point out.
You weren't trampling during that part of the year.
That was a non-trample part, and of course that's just disappointing all by itself.
Oh,
life without a trample.
Life without a trample is sad.
Of course, if you're not making things fly through the air when they don't want to, then what's the point?
Oh, what's the point? Right. And they also added they also added a new thing for delvings, and that was our first 6-player instances to get delvings, because now the Great Barrow has delvings, and I think they also added it to the Karn Doom instances, if I remember correctly.
Yes. Yep. But we did the Great Barrow, and then one night we said, hey, let's try that. Let's do the max level. And that was one of the most embarrassing nights I've ever had in LOTRO.
I could well imagine.
Hey, what are all these puddles? Why am I dead? Why am I dead again? Why am I dead again? Why am I dead again?
Just on repeat.
On repeat. Constant Constant dying, yes. Then, third quarter. Now, the first item they list in third quarter are further adventures. Now, what I don't know is when they say further adventures here is if they were talking about the new addition that they made to the adventure of the shipwrecked mariner, the tale of the shipwrecked mariner, because they had there something that was very, very similar to further adventures in there. And the only difference is A, it didn't focus upon a character that we already knew because the first one was about Bilbo Baggins and the second Further Adventures was about Elladan and Elrohir. And this one was about someone that we never met before. It was almost like a teaser into the King's Gondor area because it was mostly set down in the Gondor and in the areas near Dol Amroth and the Bay of Belfalis and the like. But the one thing about it is that it was only available when the Tale of the Shipwrecked Mariner was up, so it wasn't anything permanent. So I think that this is what they must have meant when they say further adventures. Even though it didn't follow the original Further Adventures model, it's how it operated much like a Further Adventures story. So I'm thinking that that's what they meant by that. And they just didn't want to say up front exactly what they were planning because, they wanted it to be a surprise and all.
I totally disagree. I think the Gondor JCs got together and realized, hey, if we have to tell these guys that they have to clean the latrines, they are not going to be interested in this work at all. How are we going to sell this? We'll just call it that you're not going to be cleaning the latrines. You're going to be going on further adventures.
And
think
they
about
all bought it.
Yep. And then they're like, oh, this adventure. Get paid minimum wage for this.
All right. So that's what you believe.
Oh, that's what I speculate. Believing's got a long ways to go. So,
all right. Anyway, that was sort of like one of the last items that got into there. That was way at the end of the third quarter where we had that little thing. It says class updates and update 37. That I really don't recall there actually being any class. I mean, let's see, especially probably some minor ones that were probably. Oh, actually, no, that was the Bjorning update. Oh, okay, and the Guardian. Oh, that was the Guardian update.
Well, and now that you're saying this too, I'm thinking
right.
You were absolutely right about the first quarter being the Captain update as well, because was that when. I can't remember now. Jeez, talk about getting old. When I lost the ability to do the buffed up res outside of Blue Line, I think that was the.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The captain. Yeah, the captain had its update in 36. Okay, I did find the release notes now, and.
That was
the Rootkeeper had quite a number of changes, but the Captain and the Warden were the two main ones. All right. Yeah. All right. So, yes, there were there. So we will have to give them a pass that, yes, they did have class updates because 2 classes were substantially updated, and most of the other classes got a couple of tweaks also. Then ongoing crafting updates. And this is when I believe they started trying to get, I think late in this period is when they were trying to do their first of their crafting events and say, this is going to be wonderful, this is going to be good, and oh boy.
This is going to be delayed.
It's going to be delayed, yes. Oh boy. they decided that they were going to try one crafting profession first, one of them first, so that we could go and work out the kinks on that. And it's good they decided to do that because there were lots of kinks. And it sort of reminded us why when they had the horse races during festivals, why the original horse races were discontinued and they turned it into a time trial instead. Because everything you could think about going wrong just went wrong on the. And I think they had to retry it 3 times before they were able to do the events. So they had the ongoing crafting update. So they had the first round of trying that, and everything else with the crafting update got pushed again. So the crafting updates were getting delayed and delayed because things kept on going. They were hoping to do the things that they wanted to do, keep on hoping to do them. And it wasn't until Umbar was coming out where they finally decided we're not going to be able to do what we wanted to do. We'll go into that later. Delving's updates. Ooh, what got Delving's in update 37? I'm trying to think. What got Delving's?
Yeah, because I thought the big change was earlier. Maybe it was tweaking. Maybe they were.
Yeah, it might have been. Yeah, perhaps some tweaking or something like this, because I don't recall there being any new Delvings or anything like that for that time period. So I guess they wanted to do some more, but it didn't quite happen. That's always a possibility. So I don't recall any new delvings that happened, at least unless there was one in 37.1 or 37.2 or something like that, but I don't think so. So
Sorry, guys. I really have no idea to help you.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, it looks like, I don't see. Oh, Delvings. Completing. They did actually do some tweaks in there where completing tier. We had tier 11 to tier 12 Delvings, tweaking what happened on those particular things, giving specific deeds, and a lingering fear has been correct. So they did some tweaks more than anything else. So we had that. And then we had continued monster play updates. Some minor tweaks here and there, but nothing big that I recall from that time period. And the Farmer's Fair, of course, and then the return of the Treasure Boogan.
What is a Treasure Boogan?
I have this. It's sort of something.
It's a special time in a Hobbit's life when.
I know I didn't do anything with that, so I'm sorry I can't help you with that.
Okay, well,
the Treasure Boogan sounds kind of sinister.
I can't remember what it was all about or anything like this, but obviously it had to be something that didn't very much appeal to me. But of course, I'm sure. But what I noticed in here was something that is not quite on this list. That wasn't on their prediction list, even though I think everyone knew it was coming around this time. I guess they thought this was going to be one of the... and that was the addition of the River Hobbits, because that was the entire theme of the release, is that they added in Update 37 a new race, the River Hobbits, which means now you can have Hobbit Rootkeepers.
And Hobbit Captains, right? Or was that?
Yeah, Hobbit Captains also. Yeah, because
River Hobbits... dismissive when you say it that way. Oh, yeah, Hobbit Captains.
Well, I should say that because my because my captain is a river hobbit, so I guess I shouldn't be dismissive of that. Yes, so we had the river hobbits, and well, on top of that, on top of the river hobbits, they also added Littleby housing.
So I just got a Lindleby house.
Yeah.
It is amazing. I love it.
Is it huge? What's or is it just nice looking?
It's
I think
big.
she got a big one, but not a huge one. Yeah.
I got a deluxe house. It does not look into what's his face's cave, which I am okay with. I definitely spent like an entire afternoon when I was supposed to be playing with Pie Leaf being like, I'm just messing in my house. You should come visit when you get a chance. And I was like, I'm just going to keep collecting crafting material for now.
Yeah, that was when I was trying to get my my minstrel to move up the scholarship track and all there. So I was doing a lot of that. But yes, so the River Hobbits and the Littleby housing, those were the two big things. Ooh, and was that 37 or was that 37.1 where we had the infamous stat squish?
Oh yeah, that.
I don't know. It happened before I started playing again, so it had to have been in 2 or 3.
It was a dark time, Middle Earth. You would have preferred Soren to come back at that point, basically. So no.
Hey, there were a number of people who liked at least some parts of the stat squish.
I'm glad there was a number of people that liked it. I'd like to also point out that there was a number of people that didn't like it.
Well, and one of the things that we liked, oh no, actually it was another update 37 where we had the stat squish. And one of the upshots of it is that after the stat squish, fellowship maneuvers were working again.
That's true. Yeah, and I was just being dramatic anyways.
Okay, yes.
That squish was not terrible. If we were,
it's just that the numbers were culture shock.
Well, it was the dread of it as opposed to having it happen and then playing and realizing, okay, everything's fine, So
Yeah. But anyway, yeah. So we had the stat squish in there, and
it was
better fellowship maneuvers. Yes.
The fellowship maneuver thing though is fun though because there is a guardian skill that like triggers fellowship maneuvers.
Yeah.
And before, like, you could do that and it would pop up and nobody would pay attention. But now you can do that, it'll pop up and they'll be like, everybody go red. And yeah. It feels like it has more purpose. Because it does. It's great.
Well, Cinders, did you ever run Dragok at all?
No, it's on my Cinders hasn't done it list.
Well, and it's in Dragok's heyday. That's what was so awesome about it is you had to have coordination with your group because you had to do a series of fellowship maneuvers in a specific order in order to defeat him. And so you had to have it together. Everybody had to be alive. It was awesome. It was a very complex rate of play. And let me just be frank, 50% of the fun was just trying to run down to the first to the start point, frankly.
Oh, well, I could just imagine what it'd be like doing a Rescue at Nourishgashu Tier 3 in Fellowship or Raid version of the Fellowship maneuvers that you have to coordinate in that. Because the Fellowship maneuvers are trivial in Tier 1, but they get more challenging as they go up in tier.
Oh, and that's part. You definitely will have a cross-section of players that would love to.
Right. The only problem, though, with Rescue at Nourishgashu is that Goladier inevitably gets killed if you're at too high of a tier.
Well, that's a significant inconvenience.
It's a significant inconvenience, yes.
I'm sitting here trying to figure out. I'm like, it sounds familiar, but which character did Rescue at Nourishgashu? Do I actually have any that can do that, or have I heard people talk about it?
Well, let's see. You must have done it at least. I think I've done it with. I think I've done it with you on. Would it have been M or would it have been Cinders.
Would have been one or the other of the two of them. That much I can tell you if you
Yeah.
did do it with me.
Okay, well, maybe not actually, because it sounds like that since you haven't finished Mirkwood, it seems unlikely that you actually
Yeah, I think only Cinders
Dude,
has
right.
finished Mirkwood.
did. Well, Rescue Nurse Shoe is you get that at the beginning of fall. Oh, actually, that's right. Actually, I think I do remember now because I remember seeing Rescue and Nurse Shoe on your skirmish list because I was trying to find out what you did relating to.
So was that on Alexarian that you found that and you were like, it says you've done this? And I was like, it's not showing up in my completed stuff as something I've done.
Yeah, okay, because that's right, because I was with Alexarian, and Alexarian had done Rescue Nurse Shoe.
Yes.
I don't know if I actually ran it with you, but I know you must have run it solo at least. But they don't have Fellowship Maneuvers in the solo version for obvious reasons.
That makes sense.
Okay. But anyway, and that's third quarter where actually, no, not quite. There was one more thing done in the third quarter that is actually something they posted for the fourth quarter, but as is usual, actually, I think I'm trying to think when did 37.2 come out? Let's see. 37.2 is 37.2 that came out on October 2nd. So that was just at the beginning of the fourth quarter. So let's go into the fourth quarter. Unless someone has any questions about the third quarter. All right, fourth quarter then. First of all, new level cap.
Yay!
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I know M has reached new level cap, and I have a Runekeeper at level cap.
Yep. M is my only character at level cap.
Okay.
But she did get there.
She did get there. And I think that your warden is getting pretty close, Alex.
Yeah, she's 148.
148.
I think is where we left him.
All right. So maybe next week we'll be talking about.
I bet you can.
Yep.
And I bet we will.
Yep. Then also they added a new class. Is what they were planning. And that, of course, being the Mariner.
The Mariner.
Which was, of course, at the time they released this item in here, I think it was the worst kept secret that Mariner was going to be the next class.
Was it worse kept than Estaldine, though?
Well, if I remember correctly, we were talking about a new class coming up in December before this thing came out from last year.
Okay.
And if I remember correctly, we were trying to speculate what they were going to call it because I think some people were thinking it was going to be called the Corsair class or anything like this, and I thought it was more likely to be called the Mariner, which turned out to be correct for a change. So yes, new class, the Mariner, new level cap, and new class. And of course, the new class came out in 37.2, which is when they had the pre-release all up. So that if you pre-ordered it, you were able to get and play the Mariner right away, which I did, and I was playing the Mariner right away. Have either of you had a chance to play a Mariner yet?
No, but playing with a Mariner is pretty fun. My Guardian doesn't complain.
Your Guardian doesn't complain. Yeah, some of the advantages of being a melee class.
Yes, and playing with a melee class that actually does damage.
Fantastic.
And heals.
And occasionally heals, yes.
Yes.
All right. Krister, did you have a chance to look at the Mariner?
Of course not. Are you kidding me? I'm a captain.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Captain,
that's right.
The Mariner.
You are not chantiquated. You're not chantiquated,
yes,
right?
And I'd like to say that the Mariner is the shantithesis of a captain.
The shantithesis of a captain.
No, actually, honestly, my experiences. I haven't played the Mariner yet, but my experiences with grouping with the Mariners is yes, they're excellent additions to the group. So
Yeah. And see, I don't think because I don't think I've done anything with Ploy since my Mariner came out, right?
yeah, I think you and Looney have been mainly mythguarding it.
Yeah, I've been doing things with Mythgard since then. Yes.
Yeah, and of course, if you guys ever have a light night, you're more than welcome to come over. So
We shall see.
we will figure stuff out. We're kind of doing the proto run.
We know. We saw them out on a proto run.
Yeah. Yes, Cinders and I were doing a proto run also.
And we were like, oh, look, it's a ploy. Oh, look, it's a ploy. Oh, look, it's a ploy.
I know, it's so funny. I think it's kind of funny because I think people are like, hey, wow, there's like 6 people in the same kin, like here at once. What's going on? You know?
Well, it was funny because I was like, oh, look, it's Galinlin. Oh, look, it's Galadriel. We know them. And of course, I'm on my warden like, hi. And they don't have a clue who she is.
But I've been having a lot of fun trampling out there. So.
Well, Cinders and I don't bother trampling when we go against the.
You probably just ride
Proto.
regular skis like every other boring person.
Actually, I think
dogs.
we ran through a lot of it.
Yeah, we did run around for a lot of it because I have this habit of being like, okay, let's go. And then being like, there's a cliff. Stop. Don't follow me. So Pileaf's Lore Master got to work on its Resdeed a couple times because my warden was like, oh, look, a way down. Oh, no, that was not a way down. She's dead.
Yeah, see, that'll be a problem if you start playing ESO again, is that in ESO you probably could live through that. So going back to LOTRO, when you jump off a cliff, you're like, I can survive. Oh, wait, this is an ESO.
I have not played that much ESO yet.
All right. Now, then it says, new instances and a new raid. Well, that is actually, I think, now scheduled for January 15th.
Looking forward to it.
Right, we'll see what's going to be in there. Expanded story. Yes, I think expanded story perfectly fits with what happened because they started the story in update 36 and in update 38 they did bring out the story of the Song of Ways and Wind so that we had a full story. I don't know how far Krister has gotten into the storyline so far.
Well, we kind of went more for leveling initially, so now I'm going to get back on the storyline, and now I'll just be able to breeze right through it since I'm max level.
That's what you think.
That's what you think.
How
much damage do you do on your own, or are you?
Do you understand that I've been playing a captain, the entire time? So I understand the Guardians. The Guardians aren't alone in their lonely, horrifically long endurance quest to even do a point of damage. The captains are right there. I know that when I'm swinging my sword, I'm not actually inflicting any damage. I might as well just be waving a feather. I'm tickling their nose and they're laughing. Yeah, I understand that. Okay.
Okay.
I've been there. I've been there where you take an arrow to kill a goblin in Goblin Town. So I can't kill him, but I can't die either. So that's
fair. You make a valid point. The not being able to die thing there.
But anyways, I know that Cinders has finished the story since I was doing the story with Cinders. That's why we were wondering, I think, whether or not you needed any help in doing the story.
Oh yeah. So
yes,
I don't think but it sounds to me like there might be points where I do need help. So if that's the case, I will definitely let you guys know. Because I want to get through it now. Because obviously there's going to be rewards that are going to be worthwhile to get through the story. I'm assuming. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, the tokens to get better traceries are definitely a benefit of doing the storyline. But the gear, if you have 150 gear, it probably isn't going to be an improvement.
Well, then it gets into the important thing for me. Does it look good?
Okay, the shiny shield is pretty fantastic. But other than that, I don't know if you would like the gear. So,
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
yeah. Be interesting to see what you come up with.
Then we had crafting updates and new tier. So that means they added the Umbari tier for crafting. They added a new guild tier for crafting. And they added the ability to take any 3 professions instead of being stuck with the original vocations that they had in there.
Hallelujah.
Unfortunately, the one thing they could not manage that everyone I'm sure was really anticipating and hoping for was the ability to do Umbari crafting without going through everything else before it. That unfortunately turned out.
Yeah,
that's a complete fail, let's say.
But they did make it so that you can buy through Gundabad. Like, you can just spend LOTRO points and get it taken care of for those tiers.
Yeah, how many LOTRO points does that cost?
You know, I didn't look.
Yes.
But I did it with my other characters to Minas Ithil, and it was huge. Because then they only had to do Gundabad and Umbari.
Yeah.
Basically.
Well,
so, I mean, it could be worth it for people who don't want to do all of the gathering mats. But it's also fun to go back and gather mats when you're way over level, because you can just ride around and thumb your nose at things.
Yeah, well, my minstrel was pretty much doing that this week because I was at maybe Minas Ithil level, or was I at Honor? Actually, I might have been Minas Tirith. I think I was at Minas Tirith level on my regular, and I think I was at expert level for the mastery side. So I went back and all this stuff. Now, I did have a bit of help from Cinders, because she had some extra mats from
in the magical crafting bag carry-all.
In her magical crafting bag. So I get these presents coming in through the mail in there that help me to get by some of them. And I learned about that there were crafting nodes in some of. Actually, I think that helped Cinders at one point because we learned that the harrowing of Morgul was a forestry one, so she needed some municipal forces. So we ran the harrowing of Morgul, and Cinders was able to get some snag that way.
Yep, that was helpful.
That was helpful, and I found a nice list in the LOTRO wiki that said what the crafting instances, because the only ones I thought that were the crafting instances were the traditional crafting instances, like the ones at Hootbold, the ones in Moria, and the ones in that you get from Quickbeam. And the ones that you had in Gundabad. But I didn't realize that some of these other instances that I had been doing all this, I actually had crafting nodes at them. So I was able to do that, and I think I was able to take advantage of that some when I was going up near the end there. Then we had the next item on there were new biomes. And that means because now we have this jungle-like area, and we have the extensive beaches. Some desert.
I am a fan of the beach. I really like how they did the waves.
Yes.
They did do a really good job with that.
Some nice beaches in there, and some nasty crabs that come with them.
But the crab legs are delicious.
Yes. Cook recipes now feature crab legs in them, but they also feature catching fish.
And crocodile tails.
Yeah, but I don't think the crocodile tails are a major component.
Even
As I
if they're
said,
not, I mean, it's still an exotic ingredient.
it's an exotic ingredient for some of the things in there. I sat to find out what recipe used. I think it might be one of the Crafting Guild ones or something like that that uses the crocodile. I need to start getting my cook up in the guilds in there. Oh, that's right, because my cook didn't even start guilds because I did the guilding with my Creek Hollow cook. So I have to thank him doing that because I am going through the experience of getting my scholar up. So maybe I'll consider that for my cook also. Then we have the usual Harvest Mats Festival, the Yuletime Festival, and all the usual things in there. And we, of course, had Update 38, which is what brought us all of those goodies in there. The Corsairs of Umbar. And all the new things that we had in there.
Which I will say, one of my favorite things about Umbar,
Yeah.
and Krister, if this is spoilery, you might plug your ears, but I love the colors and the details that they have brought to the Umbar expansion. Being able to look at mosaics and really see like each individual piece, I think was just a really cool thing of detail that they put in, because you can see it not just on the side that you're supposed to see, but if you're doing random stuff like swimming around in the ocean where you're probably not really supposed to be, it still looks just as good from the reverse. Like, they took the time to be detailed, and like you can zoom in on the carts and you can see the carving on it and things like that. And so that would be one of the things that I think was just fantastic that they did. And the colors, oh, it's great.
Right. Krister, you have anything to say about Corsairs of Umbar before we finish up?
The only thing I have to say is, "Arr, matey."
And that pretty much summarizes the year where I would think that the actual year went, I think, pretty close to what they had planned. Okay, there was a complete, okay, not a complete fail, but I would say the biggest area of failure is that they could not do nearly as much with the crafting update as they had hoped. But we did have a really nice new class, some really nice homes for river hobbits, and of course the river hobbits themselves. And if that's it, then we can look forward to what we're going to have in next year. They have not yet announced the plan, but we're hoping that maybe sometime in January they will have a roadmap there that would tell us what they are planning to do. So, with that done, let's head into our weekend gaming. Krister, what were you up to?
All kinds of things.
Ooh?
Wait a second. I want to get my cursor out of that document. All right. So our adventure last night was awesome because I did finally get to 150, which I thank you, by the way. I got to 150, but I was once again kind of in Incompetank, and the reason was that I still had my 140 gear on. So I figured being a 150 is great, but you still have to actually have gear that's works.
I think that's why I do the questing as I level up.
Oh, you and your sense
and check
logic.
Your mailbox.
Well, yes, yeah, I did. By the way, and thank you very much. Yeah,
You're
that
welcome.
you actually those were appropriately statted too. So that was awesome.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so that is my goal now. Now that I'm at 152, but get the 150 gear on, and then maybe once again I'll be at least equal to the hunters in morale. And so last night I told everybody as we were traveling the landscape that I had declared myself the guru last week. And so that launched into a bunch of goo-related subjects, and people were pitching a whole bunch of names. And the funniest one that came out of the whole night was a proposal by one of my kinmates, which was Winnie the Goo. So maybe there's an advertisement campaign in there somewhere, but I'll have to put some thought into it. Christowicz might be coming out with a new item.
Oh, wonderful! We now have the 100-acre goo.
I love it so much. The goo thing just kills me. So, and then other than focusing on goo, I was playing ESO and Rogue Trader this week, and that was pretty much my week in gaming. Citrus, how about you?
So, my week in gaming, I could finally turn in tasks on my warden when she got to level 145. And so we stopped everything so she could turn in tasks.
Yes.
I was like, she can turn in tasks, yes! And so I did that, and then kept leveling with Pine Leaf Slormaster, and we did take on the Proto Critters, and we conquered them all. Although I will say I was quite surprised. I think it's Proto Beast. So all the other proto creatures are just like slightly larger than their regular parallel. But then you get the Beast, and he was big. I was like, whoa, he big. Because he was much larger than I was anticipating he would be.
Well, aren't you 6 inches tall? Isn't like a blade of grass tall to you?
Not when I am on my warden, who is a high elf.
What, do you have elevator shoes? What?
Hey now, she's a high elf. She's tall to begin with.
Oh, okay.
She might be taller than Krister.
I can't hear that.
I won't ever stand her next to him. He might not be able to handle it. And then also Emerlina can now craft some of the fancy Umbari Guild jewelry. And so she was making presents for both Pineleaf and Krister. And she can also make basic Umbari heavy armor and shields. So she did a little bit of that. And despite what it looks like, because Pineleaf and I were talking about it, the crit jewelry for the guild stuff, it looks like it has worse stats because it only has 3 digits. As opposed to 5 or 4. But when you actually make it and it crits, then it does have better stats. Because we tried it just to see, and then I was like, oh, it does. This is great. So I did that, and at Pineleaf's suggestion, Cinderclaws was born from that crafting. Cinderclaws has never entered, but Cinderclaws is like a punk brawler dwarf. It's great. And then I tried ESO again. I'm not totally sold on it, but I gained a level and died and poured it all over the world as I tried to figure out what on earth all the icons meant and where I was supposed to be and why on earth I was doing that, because it's been so long that I couldn't remember why on earth I was joining the Sijic Order, and I didn't know why or what or where I was going. I was like, I don't even know. I don't know what my skills do. I don't even know how to put my weapons away. And I died once and then was like, I'll just outrun everything. Which only
That's a strategy. That is a strategy.
It is a strategy, and it sort of worked. And I wandered all over. And I tried to, follow a courier. And after about the 3rd time of, the courier just poofing away, I was like, you know what? I don't need to do this. And I just quit the quest entirely. I was like, abandon. But I will continue to try, because Sans had a good point that she was, even though you were really overwhelmed with all of the visual stimulus, she goes, it triggered one of your migraines. She goes, try it again on your own. Just see if there's see what you can tolerate and see what settings work for you, and try playing it yourself and see what style of play suits you. I was like, okay, I'll try. And so I've tried. I'm not totally sold on the playing it by myself thing, because clearly she had some issues. Um, but we'll see. Keep trying.
We'll see.
Pine Leaf, how was your week?
All right, I will begin with my minstrel who reached a level cap and improved her scholarship skills quite a bit. I think I explained that earlier. I started out at Minas Tirith / expert, and I finished it up so that I at least have mastered Gundabad. And I don't know how much I've done on the Umbari side yet. I think I'm just getting started on the Umbari side, but I got plenty of time to work on that and to collect materials and everything for that matter. Since that's our new level cap, that's the high end thing. I am working on the guild. I think I'm around expert or artisan, somewhere in that area for it at the moment, so I have to get up a few more tiers on that before I could start on the Umbari side. So we'll see how that works. And then maybe I could make that trip to the gut at some point. And
So it's not that bad if you run in from the north, and they stop following as soon as you get into the crafting area. Like, they just drop off as soon as you go into the courtyard.
Yeah. So now I'm wondering, would it be worth it trying to do the Minas Ithil stuff just so that I can get that guild boost? Did you say there's a guild boost if you do certain things in Minas Ithil?
I think it's Minas Ithil, but if you go do a quest line, you get like 200,000 points.
Right.
For the guild, which automatically makes you an honored master of the guild, and then you can join the Umbari guild. But then you have to work your way through the Umbari guild to be able to get the cool stuff.
Well, yeah, I expect that. But getting to the point where I can actually do that is...
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
If you didn't want to have to do all the little clickies, that would be the route to go. If you don't mind making and doing the little clickies and taking a few extra days... maybe a week.
Well, I've been making clickies for the last couple of days anyway, so...
Yeah, it's not like it's time consuming. You just have to make sure you have all the stuff. And then if you don't have all the stuff, spend an afternoon writing about to gather it.
Yep. All right. Then my warden, I've reached Unfalis, and I've done all the stuff I need to do over there, which means I'm getting ready to head into... Penethgeleth, or whatever that place is called, that's up to the north of Onpalis.
Penethgeleth?
Penethgeleth, yes. Up into the Green Hills. So I'm ready to head into there, where I want to run into, let's say, a major point in the storyline. I guess that's all I'll say for the moment. And then in Dinkum, I won a fishing contest.
Yay!
Hey, so that was my first attempt at I was a bit surprised on what the object was for the fishing competition because I was expecting it to be similar to the bug catching competition, but there were significant differences. That's all I'll say for the moment, just in case Cinders.
I was hoping you would tell so I know what to expect.
Oh, well, I thought you wouldn't want to have any. I thought that you wouldn't want to have any spoilers or anything like that.
Exactly. Come on, Cinders.
Okay, I love spoilers. Like, spoilers are not spoilers for me. They're like incentive to go do something.
Okay. Well,
you like are going. Carrot.
All right. Well, the object of the competition is to catch the most barracuda.
Oh. Did you use your fishing book?
Yes.
Oh, good.
And in fact, it's a good thing I used my fishing book because I had never caught a barracuda before in that particular world. I was doing this on my secondary one, not the one where you and Sans visited, but on my other character.
Okay.
And yeah, I had never caught a barracuda there. I figured, okay. Now, they do add extra barracuda on the day of the competition because apparently they're doing a migration or something like that. So there
Okay.
are more. So there are more barracuda there than you would normally find.
That's helpful.
Okay, yeah, that is helpful in the matter, but of course there are still plenty of other fish in the area and the like, so it's not like barracuda are super common or anything like this. Now, I was beginning to recognize barracuda near the end of the contest in there. And in fact, I recorded that, so when I post, I'll probably be posting that, let's see, not tonight, but tomorrow on there, so
Okay.
sort of like a finish up on that matter. And see how I did if you were interested in seeing on it and going out and trying to catch barracuda on there. And I did manage to win. I was afraid that it was John going to catch 12 of them or something like that, or nah.
Right.
I think Franklin got 6 of them, but I got 8. So I would say that you'd want to get in the. So I'd say 8's a good number probably to it, and unless I was extremely lucky in the numbers I got for the opponents or like. But finding and catching barracuda is a non-trivial task. So
That is true.
yeah, and I did buy the comp fishing rod. I don't know what the comp fishing rod is equivalent to, whether it's equivalent to a copper rod or if it's equivalent to a
I don't know
or an
that you
iron
can
rod. So
catch a barracuda with Oh, you might be able to catch barracuda with a copper rod. I've never tried it.
okay,
I've
yeah,
only
because
tried with the iron.
yeah, I did not have an iron rod because, in fact, it was only during this week where I finally got around to getting the license to make it. But
Ah,
that character was also at the same time working to open up the Tucker box because
Oh.
Sheila was visiting. I talked to Sheila and says, "Hello, I decided to stay there." And so at the same time I was preparing for the fishing contest, I was also going all over the place trying to get the iron and the copper and the palm, and of course making new kegs
Yep.
and trying to get jellies so that I could create the jelly brew. I was thankful that I had one jelly brew on hand because it would have been even worse than trying to get all that if I had to find a third set of jellies in order to make another brew. So I took an existing jelly brew plus 2 others. I got that all together. I was able to do it, and I believe the Tucker box. I think I got all the ingredients for the Tucker box on the day, either of the competition or the day after the competition, where I finally had everything that I needed.
Yeah.
So I have a nice fishing trophy, and I have an open Tucker box.
Excellent.
Excellent on there. So that's what I was doing in this week in gaming. And believe it or not, we actually have a email this week from Threscolin. And would either of you like to read that? Actually, Cinders, why don't you read it?
All right. From Thescalon. Hello! Last episode, Krister shared that Yule was his favorite festival. I, too, like Yule the best out of the festivals. This year, I worked out a circuit to do the 10 quests for the daily that gets everything done in just under 20 minutes. Question for Krister. Do you have a particular routine that you follow in Winterhome to do the quests? And if so, have you incorporated the passed out in his own filth hobbit into said routine? Thescalon, minstrel from Arkenstone.
Oh, yes. Yes. I have done the exact same thing that you have done, and I have a very specific routine. Unfortunately, the variable in that routine is if somebody got to the people to run off before I did and clicked on them, and then that messes up the routine. So there has to be several subroutines if that doesn't go. But yeah, my attempt is to get everything done in the town and just have the out-of-town quests available. Pick up the snowmen as I'm coming out. Do sweep over to the chickens and then go up to the treemen and then down to the frost. What are those guys? So frost rims, and then collect the berries, do the And then, of course, I don't know if would this be an exploit? I wonder. Because, one day many years ago, I was going up to those creatures to wake them up. And I saw somebody just do it 3 times in a row to the same guy. And I was like, so definitely do that.
I don't know if it's an exploit, but that is definitely something that Terry pushes as part of the etiquette for it. Because otherwise you have to wait for them to wander around and lay down.
Perfect.
And if it's busy, then it is really slow.
Yeah, and that's what's frustrating about the people that you're running off as well,
Yeah.
Because you have the charity quest and you have the runoff quest. And the runoff quest, basically your success is entirely dependent on if you get there first.
Yeah. I do not do the charity quest for that very reason, is because I don't want to annoy other people, and I will get very annoyed if someone did it to me. So I avoid the charity quest, and so that means I wind up doing doing the mission quest, because I think in order to get to 10, I have to do a mission in order to.
That's what I was going to say. You're going to have to compensate for that.
You could go to the theater. That's what I do. I go to the theater and watch.
That's my trade-off, because the theaters, out of all of the stuff, the theater was my least favorite thing. So that's the one I don't do. But still, doing all those quests, you're exactly it. You hit the 10 quests, and I want to say that it's probably about the same, about 20, 25 minutes to do that too. And I just like that routine too. It's just a nice routine. It's fun just to go out there and do all the goofy stuff. I love all the. I just love, and of course, when you run into kegs, when you're cleaning up all the messes, that's when I get to visit my favorite friend in LOTRO. And so every day at Winterfest. But I think what's hysterical is if I went there at any other point in the year, he'd still be there. So he's the one thing that doesn't change in Winterholm.
Very true.
He's a constant. Right, I think that answers the question. If you would like to ask us a question, you could send the question to podcast@lotrplayers.com. The Players Alliance has 2 shows on Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. We have LOTRO Players News, and we record DDO Players News when Drac is available. You can join us for our shows at lotrplayers.com/live. And that's all for tonight, and this is Pine Needles reminding you to quest responsibly.